It's different. Go ahead, Jacob. It's different. Okay? Today is all vocab. And it's rare that we spend an entire day on vocab. But what I'm going to tell you is, if you cannot identify the angles today, tomorrow and Thursday are going to be really difficult. And I don't say that to scare you, but I don't want you to be like, whatever. Sometimes you can like, I'll figure it out tomorrow. You won't want to figure it out tomorrow. Okay? So we're dealing with vocab. So the front half of this is just writing down what our words mean, and then we're going to identify them. Some of this you already know. When two lines intersect in a plane and form right angles, they are called perpendicular lines. P-E-R-P-E-N-D-I-C-U-L-A-R. Perpendicular lines. Two lines are called parallel. P-A-R-A-L-L-E-L. When they are in the same plane and do not intersect. Blank angles are two angles whose sum of their measure is, and you get to fill it in. What one do you want to talk about first?
Right.
Nope.
No, wait. That's not what they're called.
Complementary. Complementary. It did say complement. It said complement in your homework. Yep. Complementary angles are two angles whose sum of their measures is 90. Very good.
Supplementary.
And supplementary angles are two angles whose sum of their measures is 180 degrees. I'll be honest, you're going to use supplementary more than complementary. Okay, and we talked yesterday, supplementary are really angles that form a line. They may not say they're necessarily, ooh, these angles are supplementary, but you can point out to me, Miss Hoff, those two angles make a line. They also sometimes are called linear pair. So you're going to use supplementary more than complementary, but it's good to know both. But just remember linear pair, which makes sense. Linear means line, pair means two. So angles that form a line. All right, this is something else that you've probably heard of, but we haven't used yet this year. Vertical angles. Vertical angles are opposite angles formed by the intersection of two lines. Vertical angles are always equal. Okay? So if you take your pencil and draw two lines that intersect, how many angles are formed? You see 4 different angles. Everybody agree with that? We could label them angle 1, 2, 3, and 4. Yes? Okay. Angles that are opposite of one another. Ms. Hoff always talks about they share the vertex and go in opposite directions are vertical. So angle 1 is vertical to angle 3. Angle 1 shares a vertex but is the opposite direction of angle 3. They're equal. They're called vertical angles. Angle 2 is opposite angle 4. You'll see swoops used sometimes. Like on 1 and 3, I have 1 swoop on each. On 2 and 4, I would put 2. That means that they're equal, just so you know that notation. Okay. Vertical angles, they share a hinge like your elbow, but go in opposite directions. All right. A line that intersects 2 or more lines is called a transversal. A transversal. A line that intersects 2 or more lines. What type of angles do you think lie inside the lines? Interior. I bet you can guess the next one. Exterior. Okay. I don't want to scroll back and forth on this diagram and make you sick. So I'm going to go down to this diagram down here. We're going to reference this diagram a lot. We just talked about a transversal is a line that intersects two or more other lines. They label three different lines, I, K, and L. Which one is the transversal? L. It slashes I and K. And there's really nothing special about it. Peyton, I need you to sit. No, none of that is yours. All of that is mine. Notes with us, please. Okay? That's your transversal. Now, interior angles lie in between the other two lines. Not talking about the transversal, but talking about I and K. Which angles are interior angles? 3, 4, 5, and 6. Everybody follow what she just saw there? 3, 4, 5, and 6. Let's write that down just so we remember. 3, 4, 5, and 6. Because they're inside those parallel lines. Exterior angles are outside the lines. They would be angles.
1, 2, 8.
Very good. 1, 2, 8, and 7. There's nothing fancy about them. We just want to know what does interior mean versus what is exterior. Good so far? Okay. Here's where another vocab word comes in. It's a long phrase, so prepare yourself. Alternate interior angles. Alternate interior angles are interior angles that are on opposite sides of the transversal, and they cannot be next to one another. Miss Hoff calls these the Z angles. If you trace them, they will form a Z. Now, sometimes that Z looks normal. Sometimes it's backwards. Sometimes it's on its side. Sometimes it's backwards and on its side. Okay? So if we go back to our diagram, I need two interior angles that are not next to one another, but on opposite sides of that transversal. Mason. 3 and 5. Thoughts? Did it form a Z? Backwards, but it absolutely did. Backwards, but it absolutely did. Zoe, you also raised your hand. Were those the two angles you were going to say? Yeah, they were. But also, do you guys agree with, if I erase this, 4 and 6 are also alternate interior. See that Z's stretched out a little bit, but still there? 100%. Good work. What we need to know about these, when the lines are parallel, their measures are equal. They're the same degrees. They're the same degrees. Let's write these down so we remember from our diagram. Angle 3 and angle 5, right? And then angle, I forgot the other one, 4 and 6, thank you. Alternate interior angles. And I will say to you, like, have you looked for a Z? Okay, if you trace those angles, you'll make that Z. All right? Next vocab word. Alternate exterior angles. And if you look at the definition, what's the only word that's different? Exterior. They're exterior angles that lie on opposite sides of the transversal, and they cannot be next to each other. Now, Miss Hoff's going to tell you, I don't have a fancy letter for this. Okay? There's no fancy letter. Or like if you outline them, they'll look like this. So Zoe and Mason already answered for me. Somebody tell me two angles that would be alternate exterior angles. Logan.
2 and 8.
He says 2 and 8 are both exterior, opposite sides of the transversal, but not next to one another. Agree or disagree? Agree. Nicely done. Is there another set? Which ones? 1 and 7. I will tell you, alternate exterior angles are like angles that are as far apart from one another as about you can get. Agreed? Okay? They're way far apart from one another. So let's write those down Hey, guess what? When the lines are parallel, their measures are equal. Angle 1 and 7, correct?
2 and 8.
And then angle 2 and 8. Now notice, 3, 5, 4, and 6 were all interior, which makes sense because they're alternate interior. 1, 7, 2, and 8 are alternate exterior, and all of those angles are are exterior angles, right? Just remember that. All right, our third type of angle. Corresponding angles. Also, make sure you're spelling angles and not angels. It's an often misspell. Corresponding angles. Corresponding are angles that are in the same position on the two lines in relation to the transversal. Ms. Hoff calls these the F angles. And I will say again, your F could look, I would put in air quotes, normal. It could be on its back, it could be tipped forward, it could be really stretched out, it could be backwards. But when you trace them, you will form an F. What word or words was not in this definition but was in the other two? Interior and exterior. There's no regulation on this. You know what I'm going to tell you? It's always one of each. One of them is going to be an interior. One of them is going to be an exterior. On the other ones, they were both interior or both exterior. So this one, we didn't include that word because it's not a regulation on it. Okay. So somebody pick a number 1 through 8. 8. Okay. The corresponding angle to this has to be in the same place on the other line. So right now it's on line K. Everybody follow me? So I need to know where angle 8 would be located if I was really looking at line I. 4. Below the line and to the left of the transversal. If I trace this, do you see the F? Okay. So I always talk about whatever angle you're on, if you slid that up to overlap, what numbers are going to be overlapping? Now we have a lot more options here, agreed? Okay, so we said angle 4 and 8. Jacob, what were you going to say? 7 and 3. Do you guys agree or disagree with that? I would agree. Down below the line and to the right of your transversal. Okay, 3 and 7. Say it again.
1 and 5.
1. So above the line to the left of the transversal. Above the line to the left of the transversal. 1 and 5. Absolutely. And when the lines are parallel, their measures are equal. All your angle measures are equal except supplementary and complementary. Okay? All of them are equal except supplementary and complementary. Okay, so if we flip this over, our directions say, for problem 1 through 6, use the figure at the right. In the line, line M is parallel to N. Classify each pair of angles as alternate interior, alternate exterior, or corresponding. Be sure to spell correctly. To help you, because I want you to try this on your own, I'm going to leave our definitions up on the board so you don't have to flip back and forth. Okay? So if I ask you, like number 1 says angle 1 and 8, don't say it out loud, but if you look at angle 1 and 8, is it a set of alternate interior, alternate exterior, or corresponding? Complete 1 through 6 right now, and we're going to go over them together. You may want to trace them to see if you make an F or a Z. Look at the definition of interiors and exteriors. You probably don't need the diagram on this, huh? I can make this a little bit bigger for you. most of you are going to end up with a diagram that's got a bunch of drawings as you trace that. Absolutely draw all over that diagram. If you want a highlighter, you can use a highlighter. The only thing is sometimes then your highlighter gets mixed up because you've looked at it. You want to draw the diagram again right below it so that you have the same one. You can retrace it. That's totally fine. Alternate interior, alternate exterior, and corresponding. All right. Logan, Gable, Zoe, and Mason are out. Oh, and Chloe and Jacob are out. Okay. So, who's going to give me number 1? Audrey, 1 and 8. What do you got? Agree or disagree, people? Agree. Alternate exterior. Opposite sides, outside. This diagram's a little different, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah.
Your parallel lines are running vertically and your transversal is running horizontally. Okay, somebody else. Number 2, 5 and 7, Manny. Corresponding. Thoughts? Agree. Number 3, 3 and 6, Ava. Thoughts? Nicely done. 2 and 4. Aaliyah. Corresponding. Thoughts? Okay. 5 is 2 and 7. Who's got that one? Manny already answered. Somebody else. Jacob? Alternate interior, you said? Thoughts, guys?
Yeah.
Alternate interior. Nicely done. And somebody who has not given me an answer. 4 and 5. Cooper? Thoughts, everyone? Alternate exterior. I like it. Nicely done, you guys. This is what you're doing today. There's no calculating. There's not any work for you to show. The problems that you're going to get on Alex are going to say, identify a pair of vertical angles and a pair... Oh, let's try that. Somebody give me a pair of vertical angles. 2 angles that are vertical. Mason. Angles. Angles. Jacob? 5 and 2. Audrey? Say it again. 4 and 7. Manny? 3 and 8. Logan? 1 and 6. They're going to say, give me a pair of alternate interior, give me a pair of... Oh, supplementary.
Oh, yeah.
3 and 4. 1 and 2. 5 and 6. 7, 8. What are you going to say?
6, 7.
You're technically right, but hold your thought till tomorrow. There's more.
4 and 8.
4 and 8. She right?
Technically, yeah.
That's okay, though. That's okay. Supplementary means next to each other, they form a line. You are. We'll talk about it tomorrow. Okay? Do you have any work to show me? No. Okay? Pause. Fold your hands. Look at me. Here's Miss Hoff's PSA for the day. Okay? Real quick thing. There's an update that slowed down Alex in first period this morning. They were working on something like, Miss Hoff, my internet's frozen. Well, because we came back, it's getting updates pushed out to you. So 2 things that I would ask of you. 1, as soon as you log in, make it go check for updates. And then when you're done with your Alex assignment, do a restart. Some of you might have that crooked little box with the orange circle down by your clock. It needs to do an update so that your computer runs like it's supposed to. Okay? Second thing, it's the new year, and lots of us got new gadgets for Christmas, including AirPods and smartwatches.
Yes.
Okay?
I didn't.
Here's the deal.
I didn't.
Here's the deal. You are not to be on your watch at all during the day. I was pretty lenient. Some of you in here were at your watch. Some of you used the calculator on your watch. I saw it. Don't do it. Okay? You are to do nothing on your watch besides look at the time. It is just like having your phone. Okay? If you are swiping on your watch, do not be surprised if a teacher asks you for it. You do not need to be swiping on your watch. Okay? Also, AirPods are not needed at school. And people are like, but I hook them up to my laptop. When it comes to testing, we can't have Bluetooth. So you can't even have them. Okay? So, more so, I see people walking around with them in their ear. Well, the only reason you have an AirPod in your ear is why? You're listening to music and your phone's on you. Where's your phone supposed to be? In your locker. Now, do I know that some of you have your phone on you? Yes, I'm not an idiot. Okay? But if you don't have your AirPods, you're not taking it out of your pocket. I'm not going to take it from you. But if you have AirPods in, I'm absolutely going to walk up to you and say, I'll take your AirPods and I'll take your cell phone. Okay? Are you supposed to be streaming music at school at all? No. Why?
Doesn't it like slow down?
It slows down the rest of the bandwidth for everybody else. Yes, because we only have so much internet. Now, if you do at home and you watch YouTube at home, do I care?
No.
As long as it's school appropriate,
Right?
right? As long as what you're doing is school appropriate. I know you're going to listen to music. I do it all the time on this thing, right? But that's why I play overhead music for you. And I get it. Yesterday we talked about we don't want it to be silent in here. We hear every little stupid noise. Okay? But do those two things for me. I don't want anybody to lose their phones. I don't want people to lose privileges and have consequences. So there's my fair warning, okay? All right, go to work.